Hello, it is Diane Cox here, still with a squeaky chair. And I thought I'd do a quick review, hopefully I can keep it quick, on how the tarot reading I did a few weeks back on how were the leaders of parties feeling the day after the election. I thought I'd just kind of run through it and see, how it kind of lines up, how it aligns. So obviously it was a very interesting night. I've been up all night, got to bed about 6:30 this morning because I found it very interesting. And so let's get straight into it. It was evidently rounded up, there's 68 million people in Britain, 46 million registered voters, 60% turnout, which means around 28 million voters. 9.5 million votes for Labour turns out to be maybe about 12% of the population. So it's quite interesting, isn't it, that 12% of the population are basically, because they turned up and they voted, they end up being choosing the parties that are going to basically make decisions for everybody in the country. So that's quite interesting. I don't quite get the whole thing about how Labour can have 33.8%, 9.5 million views, 412 seats, great. Conservatives, 23.7, 6.8 million votes, 120 seats. And the Reform Party, 14.3% of the votes, 4.1 million votes with 4 seats. I don't quite get that. And then you've got the Lib Dems who had 12.2%, 3.5 million votes on 71. I don't get it. The Independents have got 500,000 votes and get 6 seats. It's fascinating. The Greens got 2 million and got 4 seats. I know it's this first past the post, but I don't get it. Anyway, let's look. I'm looking at Rishi Sunak's reading that I did and just kind of pulling it together because I didn't really understand why he might be feeling chipper the day after. Obviously, my Mythic Tarot deck doesn't have reversals. So what I'm struck by first is the 8 of Cups. In the past, where Rishi Sunak had to basically, go down and face the reality, the card of resignation, this is going to happen and this is how it is. He was signified by the Chariot, who's holding the reins here. Well, it turns out, obviously, he wasn't holding the reins. And yet he had, I think, the positive cards, like the 8 of Pentacles and the 9 of Pentacles crossing, I think would probably be due to him keeping his own constituency and kind of getting quite a nice, comfortable majority there. I think that could be the kind of thing that is the upper. The downer, really, there isn't a lot of downer here. He was very gracious to Keir Starmer when he had called him, and he acknowledged took responsibility, wished Keir Starmer all the best, and just took it on the chin and said, yeah, we've done badly, and so it is. I think he had the 6 of Pentacles as an overarching card, which is a new beginning. People kind of looking at what you've done. Obviously, it is a new start for him on many levels. And so, but yeah, the Star card that was in the hopes and fears position, I think, the Star card is, dreams come true, wishes come true, but it's also being the star, being seen, just shining. And I think in defeat he was quite gracious, like I say, kind, generous, and the 9 of Cups I still don't quite get, unless, like I said before, it is because he is glad to be out of it. He's glad to have that off his shoulders. It's the worst case scenario. I would kind of thought more like the 10 of Swords. Personally, as an outcome, it's over. It's like the end kind of stuff. So that's my take on Rishi Sunak's reading a few weeks ago. And then we go on to Keir Starmer. And his is quite obvious. He has as an overarching card the Ace of Pentacles. He's there. It's the big uprush money and kind of he's got the whole country, to please now. Those people who have given their votes to Keir Starmer. I know Keir Starmer's died in the wall Labour ever since he was a like a 13-year-old, 12-year-old since he was born, and his parents were, big Labour advocates. He is the Knight of Cups, a significator, full of love, full of hope. The Knight of Cups can be a significator of a bit unrealistic, bit idealistic. You're coming with all your love and your vision, but it's kind of going to be challenged, to say the least. The Four of Wands, that's quite interesting. That's obvious, getting his team together, getting ready for the kind of journey ahead. The Seven of Pentacles, not quite sure about that, unless it is this kind of, people get into power and then they realise there's other people. There's the, if you ever remember Yes Minister, the comedy from the British, God, I can't even remember, 80s probably, where it's not really the Prime Minister that runs things, it's these men in black suits and shadow kind of characters, unless he finds out at some point his great vision is going to be compromised. I think it will, actually, and there's something, there's other things that come in, and the Four of Cups in the future, this gossip, this kind of, you could imagine some kind of what they call, the whole corrupt scandal, that's it, or scandals. I can't imagine, not with him anyway, but maybe stuff around the party, maybe his cabinet, who knows, little, as we all know, that the power struggles and the ego and the desire to be, kind of out there, and is massive in politics, as it is in a lot of things. Keir Starmer being seen, feeling like the hanged man, freeze frame, different perspective. Okay, he has got a different perspective now. He's the Prime Minister of the UK. He's got a different perspective on what is going to be expected, what's available, how you're going to manifest all of these promises and these ideas, and great as I think with this, Rishi Sunak heart is in the right place, he thinks. Keir Starmer's heart is in the right place, he thinks, and people go in and they hope to make a change because they think it's the right thing to do. Let's be generous, hey. I can't quite understand the Five of Pentacles in how other people see. I can only think that, like I said, people are looking at all the promises, and other maybe politicians, other parties are going, I don't think so. Where's the money coming from? I do know that the independent parties, they've got quite a few pro-Palestine parties winning seats. So maybe other people look at Labour and their stance on that situation, and Israel and Gaza, Palestine, the whole thing, and see it as a real poverty mentality and a poverty way of being. And then the hopes and fears, temperance, balance, it's all turned out, it's all very joyful, the rainbows are shining, there's Goddess Iris, and the Ace of Swords at the end, another big card, another big ideas, big kind of ways of thinking, cut through the red tape, cut through all the nonsense, get on with it, and manifest what your manifesto says. So I think that reading was quite... you can always fit, it's like astrology, you can fit things to what you're seeing, can't you? But it is interesting, even though I do think Rishi Sunak could have got, swords. But hey, let's go on to Nigel Farage. He was in third place when I did the reading about how the leader's feeling the day after. He still is in third place. When you look at these percentages, he is in third place regarding percentages. Okay, the Liberal Democrats got less votes but more seats. So I didn't do Ed Davey and the Liberal Democrats because in my history, my lifetime, the Liberal Democrats have always been this kind of floating kind of, strange kind of not quite realising, not quite, standing up for, all a bit wishy-washy, to be perfectly honest. But I'm really glad that, they've had a good kind of turnout and lots of votes, big historic wins for them regarding the amount of seats they've got. Anyway, go to Nigel Farage. Now, I was really interested with Nigel Farage and this death card. I was like, is it going to be the death of the reform? Are they going to tank? Or is it going to be the death of Nigel Farage kind of being overlooked as an MP and never getting into Parliament? And that's what it was. So for the first time, after trying 7 times to get recognised as an MP, Nigel Farage has now won Clacton and is going to be representative as an MP. His other cards, the Emperor, well, it's really interesting actually. As I watched the live performances, the live election results coming in last night, I was so struck by the bias of the the people on the programmes. It was quite interesting because it's like journalism. It's like I say about tarot, you've got to keep your bias out of it. No matter what you think you want to happen or what is happening, you've got to try and keep your bias out of it. But these people couldn't, and I looked at a few kind of live shows about the election results coming in, and they were so biased and very biased against Nigel Farage. And basically, so he's got the Emperor at the root of it. So, and it kind of made me think, yeah, the Emperor, he'll just, they kept saying it was going to cause trouble, it's going to cause trouble. And it's like, well, isn't that what politics should be? It should be trouble. It should be people speaking up on all sides. So yes, that death card, I now realise, is his new beginning. It's the death of the old. It's the death of him losing, never getting into Parliament, and now he's an MP. I get that. That was really great. The 9 of Wands in the background. In the past, he did have this, all the dirty tricks, things that people throw up before elections. He did have this thing come up from the past, which really kind of got their votes falling a bit. Page of Swords in the future, people bitching and talking and that backbiting kind of thing. Well, I already saw that last night on the on the programmes about how they see Nigel Farage. Obviously Keir Starmer's like a saint to a lot of these people, and Rishi Sunak is just kind of the fall guy, I really think personally. What can you do with 14 years of all this kind of chaos and stuff happening, and the whole lockdown stuff, very difficult to rule during that time. And so that's, and Nigel Farage is the kind of the wild card, should we say. Nigel Farage had the 7 of Wands on how he's feeling today. How is he today? Chaos and confusion, competitive. And I get that regarding, I think he was saying about this first past the post thing. You actually come third after the Conservatives. You get 4.1 million votes, but you only get 4 seats. I realised that must be quite annoying. And like I say, for the Independents, the Green Party and everyone. How other people see him, the star. That's quite interesting, being the star. I think, some people were quite generous last night and said, I know Farage said in his kind of speech when he realised he'd won that he'd been in this position for 4.5 weeks. He went from nothing, 4.5 weeks, to being kind of beating by percentage and vote the Liberal Democrats and coming third, no small feat. Whether you like him or not, it's an impressive thing. Hence, I think the star. And hopes and fears, moving on. I heard him saying he was going after, once he's in there, he's really going to be stirring up and really questioning and pushing, like I'm sure the Independents will and the Greens will. And there he found himself with the 2 of Wands, thinking, okay, here I am watching the world. What's my next move? So I didn't know if that was going to be because he's out. They did really badly, so now what's he going to do? Or the other thing, I didn't know if he was going to do well and go, right, okay, now what's the strategy? What's the next move? Where do I want to be? So that was me just reviewing my own reading regarding how they're feeling today, and all the whole kind of political shenanigans that did or didn't go on. Those are the results. That's what's happened today. And the United Kingdom, Great Britain, is on a new trajectory with Labour and all these kind of little other fragment independents and stuff. So it's going to be really interesting, I think, to have a big, a big variation in the government would be great. With Labour, with their big majority, will obviously be able to push things through at their own pace and what they want. So let's all see. Congratulations to them all. It's incredibly stressful, I can only imagine. I saw a lot of people, the cabinet ministers in the Tories, just lose their jobs in a moment, and it's all over for them. So, sad for those people. Let's be generous. Congratulations to all the people that put in the effort, the time, and their heart-filled intention to make the United Kingdom a better place. So have a great day, enjoy, and I'll be back soon.